Hello guys, Nat Blue here, and today I want to talk about the 2024 character sheet for Dungeons & Dragons compared to some other character sheets. So I recently saw the new character sheet for the first time, and I wanted to take a moment talking about some things I like, some things I don't like, and then just talking about different options for character sheets. So for a baseline, I would like to talk about the 2014 character sheet. So this is the 2014 character sheet. Pretty straightforward. You have your skills and stuff on this side. I normally put my score up here. Like if I have a 16 strength, and then I will put my modifier here. So I think 16, that would be like a +3 to strength. I have seen people do the opposite. So I have seen people put like a 16 in the small box and a +3 up here. There are a couple of things I love about this. I do love that this specific character sheet for 5e is form fillable. So you can edit it on your computer. This would be really good for like online games where you have your computer screen readily available and you're not using something like D&D Beyond. My only issue is if you're using this at the table, you would have to reprint the character sheet pretty often. So then the top of this, which I don't know why we didn't start top down, you have the character name, your class and level, background, player name, which would just be your personal name, the race that the character is, your alignment, which I never use alignment in games. I don't know who is still using alignment in games. I'm sure a few people. And then experience points. And I have never been in a game that tracks experience points. I know some DMs still do it. Every game I've been in, it is milestone tracking. We don't use experience points. Then you have your inspiration, your proficiency bonus. These are your saving throws, and then your skills in this box. All still form fillable for this. You have your AC, your initiative, your speed, current hit points, hit point maximum. So that's nice to have both of these on here. Temporary hit points, your hit dice, which includes the total and the ones you have currently used. And then saving throws for death saves. You have your attacks and spell casting. I do have an issue with this one. And that is I don't think there's enough room for it. So like, you put your attack. I'm just going to do dagger. Let's say you get a +2 to hit. And let's say you get like 1d6. That is not right. +5. That's probably not accurate, but we're going to say that's give or take what you want there. Where are you going to put the type on here? Like 1d6 +5 slashing? It doesn't fit. And if you are writing this by hand, it certainly doesn't fit. I don't know a lot of players that have small enough handwriting to squeeze that in there. And then you only get 3 weapons, which for most people is not too bad. A lot of the time, you don't need more than 3 weapons. Some people would probably want more than 3 weapons. And then you have your box down here for other information. You have your equipment, which is copper, silver. I think this is electrum, gold, and platinum. I've never played in a game with electrum. Your passive perception, which I wish it told you how to get this number because I've had to explain that to a lot of players. Other proficiencies in languages. I like this little box. I normally put on no gnomish in here because most of my characters know gnomish. And then equipment, you can put like all of the gear that you currently have. Personalities, traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. I know a lot of people don't use this section. I like to keep this written down so that I can reference it when I'm trying to get in character. And then the features and traits. This is really good for like class traits and stuff along those lines. Now the second page I feel like it's too much. So you have your character name again. Age, height, weight, eyes, skin, and hair. If you guys watched my video on how I made Klaus the Goblin, you know that this is very important to me. I love to figure out what their age is. I look at things like height and weight, the eye color, the skin color, the hair color. I love physically designing a character. That's not what I think is too much. Character appearance implies that you are drawing something there, or that you are like pasting a picture into that. I've never seen anybody use it. Unless you have very autistic people at your table. And then same with like allies and organization. There's a symbol area where you can put a symbol into this box, and then you can name the organization. And then there's a box, like, I guess, to describe the organization. I don't see this being used a lot either. If you're playing a game that has like factions, I could see how this is useful. But I don't see this get used very often either. Backstory, I love this section. So normally, when I make a character in 5e, I will type all of the standard stuff that doesn't change. So like, I won't type the modifiers and everything. I won't type the skills, but I'll type like character name, class, background, my player name, the personality traits and stuff like that, the proficiencies in languages. I will type the things that shouldn't change throughout the campaign. And then I type a lot of stuff on this page for like character name, all of the descriptors for the character, and a backstory. Normally, the way that I do this is I have like a Microsoft Word document or a Google Doc that I will print to give to my DM to give him the backstory. And I will just paste that information over into character backstory. The nice thing with this specific form fillable document is it will shrink that text if it's too much text. But normally I'll just delete a few sentences that aren't as important. Additional features and traits. This is always necessary for me because this section I don't think is big enough to fit everything into it. And then treasure. I don't like the treasure section. I want to explain that for a second. I have a paper that I use for treasure. I have like a backpack paper that I use. I think I might have just made it on Excel. It's either that or I found one online, but I don't use this section on this paper. Then the third page, we have spellcasting. So you have the spellcasting class. So this would be something like wizard. I cannot type today. I just typed a Q twice in a row. Wizard or bard or something like that. Spellcasting ability would be, I think like wisdom. I don't know why I blanked for that for a second. Spell DC, it's either wisdom or it's the level. So like, I have not been taught this, but it could be the level. Spell DC, spell attack bonus. And then you have like cantrips, first, second, third, fourth. I really like this page. I think this does a good job. It has enough spaces in it for your spell slots, which I think is pretty key here. A lot of spells, spell papers that I've seen just don't have enough spaces for spells. So that is the 2014 character sheet. Now we can go over into this next sheet, which is also a 2014 character sheet, but it's in color. So this is red. And there are some differences here. So we have, we're going to zoom in a little bit more. I don't know why I didn't zoom in this much on the last one, but we're going to roll with it, guys. So character name, class and level, race, alignment. I still don't like alignment, but that's okay. Some people use it. Experience points. And then your proficiency bonus and inspiration are in the same line as your skills now. I like these box things. Like I said, I put my modifier in the little box, put my strength score in the big box. Some people do the opposite of that. But I also like how the skills are separated by the modifier they would go with. So like acrobatics is with dexterity. This is also a form fillable form. I don't know why you would check stuff, if I'm being honest. I don't know if that means you have proficiency in acrobatics or something like that. The armor class, I think this is too much. This would be good for a new player. So this would help a new player figure out what their AC is. Because you would do the dex modifier plus armor plus shield plus miscellaneous. This is great for a new player. I don't like it. I think it takes up too much room on this paper. Initiative and speed, I think those are any decent spot. I kind of like my initiative on the left, but I think I could get used to this. And then the hit point maximum and current hit point, total hit dice, and used hit dice, and then your death saving throws. Those are all in the same place as the 2014, just a different style. Now the attacks, I like this section better. It's still not perfect. I like that you have the spot for the weapon or spell, the range of it, the type, attack bonus, and damage. So if we did the same thing as earlier, just a dagger, I think it is like, this is going to be wrong. We're going to say it's just like 30, 60. And I don't think that's correct. Type is piercing damage. Attack bonus, we're going to go with +2. And damage would be like 1d6 plus 5. That's just what we're going to do with. So like that is a lot cleaner than that other page. I do like that spell is on here. And that might not make a lot of sense because there is going to be a spell page. But I think this is good for the spells that you use a lot. So if you very commonly use like Fireball, and you want to say that you have a range of, I don't think it's 120 feet, I think it might be 60. I don't use Fireball very often. And then type is, fire damage. Attack bonus, that's a saving throw, so that's a little weird. But then you could put like the damage and everything on here. In that way, you don't have to keep referring back to your spell section. So that is a nice option. I don't know if I would really put spells here, other than if I'm playing like a Warlock and I want to put Eldritch Smite there. And if that was the case, I would put Eldritch Smite at the, no, not Eldritch Smite, Eldritch Blast at the bottom here. I don't know what the damage type is or anything. Because then you could put evocation effects in this little box. So like repelling blast. That is tiny and I don't like that. Why is that so small? But you could put that sort of thing into this section of the attacks area. Just to give a little bit more information about the Eldritch Blast. Resources, charges, and abilities. I do love this section. It is a little tight. Oh, I skipped this. There's a spell casting section about how many spell slots you've used. So that's nice too. So like if you have 4 level 1s, you could check a circle every time you use one. That way you always know how many spells you have left. So that's nice. And then you have your save DC, attack bonus, spell casting modifier, all in the same place. So that simplifies it a little bit more. Puts it all on the front page, which is nice. That way you're not flipping back and forth between stuff. Resources, charges, and abilities. This is really great. If you're a paladin, it could be like lay hands. The bard, you could put your bardic inspiration on here. So this is really nice to just have on that front page. Equipped and accessible items. I do like that there's a place for tuned items just front and center. That's a nice touch there. And then you have your copper, silver, gold, and platinum. Thank the Lord Electrum's not on here. I don't know if I've ever met somebody that uses Electrum. And then this is just like equipment. Your proficiencies in languages are in the same place. Your features and traits are in the same place. So that hasn't really changed much. Page 2, a little bit cleaner than the other page 2. You have your character name, all of your descriptors, so your age, height, weight, everything like that. Still a place to draw a picture. I still don't know if that's necessary. Your personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws are on the second page, which I think makes more sense. They don't need to be as quickly accessed as everything that's on page 1. They're things you might refer back to every so often. And then additional features and traits. This is nice. I wish the box was a little bit bigger. Background. I guess this would be like Acolyte and stuff. because they did leave it off of this top section. But it is an odd place to put it. Notes, that's really nice. I don't know if it's enough room for notes, but at the same time, I'm going to recommend you just have a little notebook. And then a character backstory, just to add a little bit of that into there. Stored items and treasure. Like I said, I use my own treasure page. I think it's just a little bit better. It's easy to keep track of that way for me. And then you have your spells page again. I don't know if it needs to be, I don't know. I think it's okay. I think this is the exact same spell page. There's nothing different between this and the last paper. It's not anything special. Same amount of information, I think. You can still put like your slots here, how many you've expended here. I don't know if this is as necessary though. The slots and expended. Because you do have this section up here now. So I don't know. I don't think it's as necessary as it was on the last page. Now, for what you guys are actually here for, the 2024 character sheet. This is the 2024 character sheet that we currently have. So you have your character name, background, class, species, and subclass. So 2024 has changed race to species, which I think kind of makes sense. Species just scientifically makes a little bit more sense. You have your level, your XP. So if you are an XP tracker, you have a spot for that. Then a spot for your level. Armor class, you can fill this in if you are using a shield. There might be a form fillable version of this document. I have not seen it. So if there is a form fillable version, you might be able to find it somewhere like D&D Beyond or something like that. But this is just the first one I could find online. Hit points, you have your current, max, and temp. Your hit dice, your spent, and your max. And then your death saving throw, little bubbles that you can fill in. I like how clean that is. So your current number is going to be the biggest here like it is on the other one. But I think this, with the temp and max in the same place, is nicer. And then your spent and max for your hit dice is really great. Initiative, speed, size, and passive perception. I like this. Other than size, I don't know if we need that here. Like, I don't think it matters. I mean, I guess it matters in some situations. If you're casting like enlarge, reduce, or anything, it kind of matters. But I don't like it. They do the same thing that I have a problem with in the 2014 version, where they have like the name, attack bonus, DC, and then the spell, the damage and type. So this is weapons and damage cantrips, which makes sense because, like I said, you could put like Eldritch Blast in here. Damage and type, I still don't think is a big enough area. So like for the dagger example, you would have to fit 1d6 plus 5 piercing on this line. Thankfully, they do make up for it a little bit in the notes section. So I would say notes, you could put like the damage type if you need to, and then you could put like how much ammo you have and stuff like that. I kind of like how they did these intelligence scores and strength scores and everything like that, the different ability scores, and the proficiency bonus. That's just a cool little design. I like how they have the modifier in the score. I don't like how this goes against everything I've been doing. So I've always done the score in the bigger bubble. So like when we were talking about it on here, I did the score in this big bubble and then the modifier in the little bubble. This is saying I should be doing the modifier in the big bubble, score in the little bubble, which I'll admit, it makes sense to do the modifier in the big bubble because that's the number you're going to be looking at most of the time. That doesn't mean I like it. So I mean, it's okay. I think they should have kept score and modifier off of here. I kind of like the freedom that the 2014 character sheet gives you, to where you can make the decision on which one you want to put in which spot. I kind of missed that a little bit. And then you have your saving throw and your skills all under the same umbrella. similar to how this colored sheet did it, where everything is grouped by the score that it's associated with. Class features, this is a lot of room for class features, and I appreciate that. I think they make it a little bit too small sometimes, and this is a lot of room. I have a couple problems. I'm not a huge fan of grid format when you're writing. I kind of prefer lined places for you to write, but that's a personal preference. They have species traits and feats. That's really nice because instead of putting everything into features and feats, I don't remember how they named it on here, features and traits. Instead of putting everything into features and traits, you have 3 different sections to put stuff into. So it takes up a lot less room. Heroic Inspiration, which is a newer thing in 2024, similar to the regular inspiration you could get in the past, but hopefully more widely used. And then the armor training for proficiencies, the different weapons and tools you're proficient with. I like this. I think the design for this sheet is just really clean too, though. This is a cool little detail where there's the artwork here. But spell casting, I really like this page. You have your spell casting modifier, your spell save DC, and spell attack bonus. Those are nice to keep out in the open, and they're in a bigger area, so it's easy to see them. Your spell slots for each of the levels, similar to this other sheet where you have this section for what your slots have been expended for. You have that on here. And then you have your cantrips and prepared spells. Decent number of room. I do feel like there's a chance if you get all the way to like 20th level as a wizard, you might not be able to fit all of your spells on here. I do love how there's concentration, ritual, and required material. That's great. The number of times I forget that something's a ritual is insane. Concentration, I forget about almost every time a player uses it. So this will be really useful for somebody like me that's just a little bit forgetful about this type of mechanic in the game. You have enough space for casting time and range. You have a section for like notes. That's great. I love this cantrips and prepared spells table. Appearance, I like that you have the smaller box for it. You're not expected to draw yourself in this updated character sheet, which is nice. Backstory and personality, this is great. It's a little small, but you should be able to fit in like bullet points here. I still don't care about alignment. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't seem to care enough. Languages, that's a nice little area for that. I do have players that try to learn as many languages as they can, and I don't completely understand it. Equipment, you have this box here, another spot for attuned items, and then taking the camera away for a second, you have the coins. And I hate to say it, Electrum's back. It has to be Electrum, right? I think that's the name of it, Electrum. So you have a place for your coins, copper, silver, Electrum, gold, and platinum, which I don't know how many silvers in an Electrum. I think it might be 10 for each increase. That's how I've always played it as. But I always go from silver to gold because I think we can ignore that Electrum exists. It's not necessary. Now, I wanted to take a moment to talk about 3 other character sheet options that I think you could look into. The first one, I have done a couple of videos about this company, and that is ArmorClass. So ArmorClass makes character sheets and a lot of other D&D tools. You can buy cheat sheets for being a player or a GM, so just little notes that help you play the game a little bit easier. And they made this character sheet pack called the Clarity Pack. They have a lot of different character sheet options. So there's some that are like full artwork and everything. This is the free Barbarian character sheet from Clarity Pack. There is one drawback here, right off the bat. And that is that this is 7 pages long. This is 7 pages of a character sheet. So if you're trying to do a character sheet that's just like a page or two, this is not a great option. But Barbarian, you have a place for your name. Race, this is also form fillable, which is great. Race, background alignment. You have Exhaustion, which is really great if you're playing like a Berserker, because you can put the Exhaustion in here. A place for your primal path, so what kind of Barbarian you are. Inspiration, experience points, conditions. This is the 5e version, but the Clarity Pack has a 2024 version now if you are going to be moving into 2024 D&D. You have AC, initiative, speed, HP, hit dice, death saves. This is all pretty standard. Your proficiency, passive perception, passive insight, and passive investigation. Passive insight and passive investigation are not used as often as passive perception by most DMs, but it's still not bad to know. Brutal critical, this is a barbarian feature. All of these character sheets are very specific to that class. And then you have like your rage area where you can put your damage die type in the middle and how many you've used and how many you have. Actions, you have, oh no, rage, I don't know what this is. Rage doesn't have it. Yeah, it has a damage die. I don't know. I would have to look more into this section. I haven't played a barbarian in a long time now. So actions, you have attack range, hit DC, or damage type. This has the same problem as other character sheets we've already talked about, where there's just not enough room to put a lot of information there, which is awful, in my opinion. Similar to the color section or the color sheet that we went over, you have your place for your skills, your modifiers, and everything, grouped by type of skill. So grouped by intelligence, grouped by wisdom, stuff along those lines. You have a place for racial traits, which I like. It's a lot better than combining it with the other traits. Languages, your proficiencies, other proficiencies, and tool proficiencies. So that's great. Additional combat features. I will say simple weapons and martial weapons is okay to have on here. Sometimes it's a lot more specific than that. There's some classes that are like proficient in longsword or longbow or something like that. Additional combat features, that's always nice too. So you have, I don't think this is the case for barbarian. I guess barbarians are probably just proficient and simple in martial weapons. Character details, age, height, weight, eyes, skin, hair, scars, and distinguishing marks. I like that. That's something that's hard to remember sometimes. I had a character where I had to constantly remind myself what side of his body the scar was on, so that would be a nice place to put that. Your appearance, which you could type something here instead of drawing something. Ideals, bonds, flaws, personality traits, stuff along those lines. Your background, allies and enemies. This is a nice little box for it because you don't need to put a lot of information there. Additional features and traits, that's always nice to use. Coins, they are ignoring Electrum, a company after my own heart. Equipment, you have equipment for each area. So your head, an amulet, a cloak, armor, hands, ring, belt, and boots. This is really good if you want to build your equipment like a video game where you're allowed one thing per one of these slots. And then there's a place to check mark whether or not you're attuned to that. So that's really nice too. Magic items and another attunement area. An inventory. So I do use my own inventory sheet. I've said that like 3 or 4 times already. I do like this one because it lets you mark whether or not it's in a chest, which is nice. And it has like a quantity area to where if you're putting like arrows down here, you could put a quantity there. And then this is why the character sheet is so long. And that is, you have multiple pages of abilities. So like your rage, unarmored defense, reckless attack, danger sense. You can put in class abilities for your primal path that you pick at level 3. You can put whether or not you took an ASI or a feat here. You get your extra attack at level 5. That's a nice reminder. Fast movement at level 5. Primal path at level 6. Feral instinct at 7. So this just goes through your entire class, lets you take notes. And the thing I love about this is very good for either a new player or somebody that's not using an app. So I use an app to build my characters. This takes out that need because you can put even your ability score increases you can put on here, and that way you don't have to build it out in an app. And then this is great. This is my favorite page out of this entire character sheet. This is what I think makes it worth it compared to some of the other ones I like. And that is you can put additional class features by level. So let's say on level 4, you pick a feat. Okay? Let's say you pick like a lot. That's great. But then when you go down here, you can put level 4. You can name this a lot. And you can put what that feat does. So like, cannot be surprised. I mean, I think there's more to it than that, but you can put that in this box. And then when you are trying to figure out what all of your feats do, you can just flip to this back page. So I love this page. I guess that's not the last page because we still have a spellcasting page. Now, Barbarian, there's a really good chance you can throw this page away. Very good chance. I think that maybe the primal path, the wild magic Barbarian, might get a couple of spells. And I might be missing a Barbarian that gets a couple of spells. I guess if you're playing like a Tiefling Barbarian, you would still get your Searing Smite and stuff like that. You could put that in here. But this is one of my favorite spell casting sheets because you have the number of spell slots you have, so you can take these bubbles off. A spellcasting focus box, so you can remember what's letting you cast those spells. Nobody's using this component pouch in any of my games, but it is a good option to have. Spell attack bonus, spell save DC, cantrips known, and spells known. That's really nice. And then you can put your spell level, the name of the spell, casting time, range, your to hit or to save, the duration of the spell, components, and effect. And you can still put if that's a ritual, concentration, or prepared spell. And you get a decent number of boxes here. As a barbarian, not going to need more than these. Unless you multi-class, which is tough to do as a barbarian. You would have to probably multi-class into a wisdom or charisma caster. You're definitely not multi-classing into wizard. So you probably still won't need to use all of these boxes here. But I love this spell selection, this spell sheet, because it is so much nicer than the other ones I've looked at in the past, in my own opinion. That's why I love the Clarity Pack. And then this last page is telling you how to get the rest of the Clarity Bundle. So if you've enjoyed using this free Barbarian character sheet, why stop here? Upgrade your adventures with the full bundle, including custom sheets for all 13 D&D 5e classes. So I bought all of them. It's not that much money. I don't know off the top of my head. If you want to see a fuller review on the Clarity Bundle, I don't know if it's actually fuller because I spent a lot of time on this today. Go check out my video on the Clarity Bundle. I love ArmorClass. I will sing their praises for years to come. And I think the Clarity sheet is such a simplified sheet. I love how artistic some of the other ArmorClass character sheets are. But this one is just so cut and dry. And I love that for me. I don't always need a beautiful piece of artwork on my character sheet. Now, next up. I don't think I like this one better than any of the other options we've looked at, and that is Humblewood. I recently bought Humblewood, and I love it. If you don't know what Humblewood is, it is a module by Hit Point Press for 5e, and it uses animal classes. So you can play as like a raccoon, an owl, a bunch of different birds, and then a bunch of like forest floor critters. And it uses 5e, but it comes with new subclasses and stuff like that. Now, I love this character sheet, how simplified it is. This is not the full, like there's other options. There's colored options. There are the ones with more artwork on them. This is the standard Humblewood character sheet, the regular one. So we are going to use the regular one. Now, you have your place for a character name up here. You have your player name, class, race, alignment, faction, background, and experience. The one thing that immediately jumps out to me about this character sheet is that all of this is kind of really light and hard to read on a screen. This one is not form fillable, and I think I bought this from Humblewood's website, which means I shouldn't spend long on this because I don't want to give too much out about it. But you can put a portrait here. I don't love the portrait thing. You have all of your normal stuff here that you normally would. It's just artistically really nice. Your place for your ability score modifier and save. I do kind of like this. I know I said I didn't like how the other one told you where to put your modifier and ability score. I think the difference here for me is these boxes are the same size. I don't like when a character sheet tells me to put the modifier in the big box. These boxes are the same size, so it doesn't bother me as much. Features and traits, attacks and spellcasting. I hate this. And I understand. Humblewood might not utilize spellcasting as much as normal 5e. I have a feeling that's not true, though. And if that's not true, this just isn't enough room. It's not enough room for both attacks and spells. And if it does, like this says you get the same number of spell slots as normal 5e. So you have your 4th through 9th, and it has the bubbles, which I love the bubbles. But if that's the case, this just isn't enough room for your spells. I mean, I guess you could write small and put more than one thing on each line, but then you're not putting the information for like the attacks either. Your equipment, I like the death saves box. It's just really nice. It's a lot of room to put there. They do have Electrum. We've got to take points off of that. And then the other proficiencies in languages. So that is the Humblewood character sheet. And I have one more character sheet I want to talk about for a moment. And it's a little bit of a weird one because it's not a PDF like the other character sheets are, which is a little odd to toss in there. These are by Briarlantern.com. So that is BriarLantern.com. And I'm assuming I found them on there. I think I might have bought these on DM's Guild or Etsy or something along those lines. I don't think I bought them from that website. Probably Etsy. Which is why I want to talk about this. There are options, especially if you're willing to spend money on character sheets. A lot of people are not willing to spend money on character sheets. A lot of people aren't going to places like ArmorClass to buy a character sheet when the 2014 and 2024 ones are free. And I understand that. The Humblewood one you have to buy. Most people are going to use the standard ones because it's just cheaper. But if you do buy one of these character sheets, you can reuse it for different characters, just reprint every time. This is a PNG, so this is not a PDF, which means it's not editable. There are a couple of things you could do with this. So one thing that I've done in the past, download it onto a tablet. This tablet is so dirty and I'm so sorry. Download it onto a tablet where you can write over top of the PNG, and that works. That's an option. Another option, and the option I normally use, is just print the picture. But without further ado, we're going to hop into this one because I want to spend a little bit of time on it, looking at the art mostly, because I did pay somebody for this. And I don't want to keep it on screen much. Because if you are interested in buying this, go to the website and support this smaller artist. I think this is one of the most adorable character sheets I've ever seen. I love this little guy. At the player name, I love the little hearts for the HP. This star for inspiration reminds me of Saikuno's star for his logo. If you don't know who Saikuno is, he is a streamer that I love. He does such a good job with his streams. He's normally such chill streams. And then these are also little stars. There's a bunny rabbit right there. You have your skills separated by overall skill. The name of the weapons, this is great with the attack damage, range, ammo, all of that. I love that it has an ammo section. Most of these character sheets, I don't think any of them have had an ammo section yet. So I do really enjoy that. You get plenty of spaces here. You can denote whether or not it's a dex or strength attack, which is also kind of nice. Because there's some abilities that might come into effect with. And then something that I like about this that a lot of people might not consider is you can still put like a cantrip here. You could still put your Eldritch Blast on this line. These, okay, I love this. And I understand a lot of people aren't going to. This and these 3 boxes are blank. There's the call out at the bottom for Briarlantern.com. They're blank. And what I enjoy about that is that means you get to decide what goes in this box. So this middle one, since it has this kind of ornate ring, I use that for treasure. So like if I get treasure, I can put it in here when I'm not using my actual treasure paper. This one on the right hand side has like a potion, which you can't see because of the way my screen is cropped, but it has a potion, so you could use that for potions. And then the feather on the side, I don't know if I'm being honest, but you can use this kind of stuff to just record information about your character. I love this thing. And then on the other side of that, there's a spell sheet. And this has all of your spell slot information. So how many spell slots you've got. It has spots to put all of your level 1s and everything on here. The number of spaces gets lower the higher up you go in level, which is nice because you don't need as many spots as you do for like your level 1 spells. You have a cantrip section, your spellcasting focus, your components, spellcasting features, so anything that you might need to remember there, the class that you're playing, casting ability, spell attack, and spell save DC. So overall, I love this spell sheet because I think it is just also very aesthetically pleasing, and it goes really well with that character sheet that we just looked at. I think they just pair really well together. The stars are the same. They're meant to be used together. So I do love like a niche character sheet made by a small time artist, because it does support somebody who probably isn't getting as much business as Wizards of the Coast, obviously. And you get a more unique character sheet. Like when I used this in a campaign, people loved how it looked. And a lot of the time, people are just coming to the session using the exact same character sheet. And sometimes I like to stand out a little. I'll be honest, I play a lot of bards for somebody that doesn't want to stand out. So I love this one. But that is all of the character sheets I wanted to go over today. Let me know in the comments if there are any character sheets that you want me to look at. I'm always looking for new options. I will say my least favorite one on here, sadly enough, is the Humblewood character sheet. I don't think the regular character sheet, at least, has enough room for your attacks and spells. I think there could be a few more things added to this. Maybe even just a second page. Because from what I understand, I only have this one page, which is a little odd to me. I love the Clarity character sheet, and I think it is probably my favorite one, other than that one I just showed you that I got from that smaller creator. And then honestly, to summarize what we all came here to talk about, the 2024 player sheet's nice. The character sheet is really nice for 2024. I didn't know if I would like it, but the prepared spell sheet is nicer than the 2014 by a lot. I love that they were able to condense everything into 2 pages while still giving plenty of room for stuff. I'm really happy they took out the section for the portrait. If you are artistically inclined and you want to make a character portrait, what I would recommend, a lot of people I play with use binders. And I've done something similar to this in the past where I made a character on Hero Forge and downloaded the character because I have the premium version of Hero Forge, whatever it's called, and printed it to use as a cover page for my binder. If you're artistically inclined and you want to draw your character, or you want to commission artwork for your character, which I've seen a couple of people do, just put the paper on the front of your binder. I think it's a lot better than the small portrait you're going to put onto your character sheet. That's just my opinion. If you love drawing it on your character sheet, just use the old character sheet version. But I think the 2024, it is an improvement over the other one, even if I'm not happy about the modifier score argument where the score is going into the smaller box and the modifier is going into the bigger box. But that is all I've got for this video. Let me know your opinions on the character sheets we went over. Tell me if you like the 2024 one. Let me know if you do end up buying any of these from Hitpoint Press, which makes Humblewood. Any Etsy creators. I think that's where I got the cute character sheet is what it's called. If you buy anything from those guys, or if you just buy one from ArmorClass, which I really recommend ArmorClass. I love those guys. They're a great company from what I can tell, and they make some great character sheets. So let me know in the comments if you end up buying any of these. Let me know your preference onto which one you are going to use in the future. Like the video if you did like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this. This one's a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but that's okay. We got through everything that I wanted to talk about, and that's what matters here. And until next time, guys, peace.